Chicago is on fire, figuratively speaking. That is due to Donald Trump's dictatorial occupation of the city by federal agents, and Governor Pritzker of Illinois is pushing back in a big way, and you're going to want to hear what he just accused Trump of in this breaking story. As context for this report, I've curated some dramatic footage of what is currently happening on the streets of Chicago due to the aggressive federal agent presence ordered by Trump. This first clip came to my attention via a post by Wu-Tang is for the Children that said, ICE Nazis in Chicago tried to kidnap a food delivery worker, but my man was too fast for those slow bastards.
Get him! Watch out! Watch out!
That video is going viral because it comically shows the agents letting a delivery guy who taunted them slip through their dragnet. But if we look at it through a different lens, it's a bit alarming. That's because the man didn't do anything criminal, and about 10 agents spontaneously joined the one who was offended. That scary combination of groupthink and adrenaline puts people at risk. Next up is a frightening account of a reporter's experience, also someone who is not doing anything wrong, and I've paired it with some dramatic footage that is coming out of Chicago. Have a look, and then I'll have Pritzker's counterstrike on Trump.
ICE is facing criminal investigations from the Chicago suburb of Broadview after an ICE officer fired unprovoked at a CBS News reporter who was simply driving by. Her window was open. They fired at her vehicle through her window with some kind of a pepper ball. It exploded in her car, engulfed the entire car, obviously, blinded her and teared her for 10 minutes. She got out of the car, vomited. There were no protests. There were no protesters. There was no reason for them to do this other than they decided to attack someone they saw going by slowly, and they saw her as a threat because she simply was driving by. The reporter is Asal Rezai. She filed a police report with the city of Broadview, one of the Chicago suburbs, and the city is investigating a criminal action against ICE, but of course, they've got to cooperate with the city for anything to get done. Another Chicago reporter, Steve Held, was detained yesterday by ICE officials simply, again, for covering a protest. Donald Trump had previously threatened to send the military to Chicago, but dropped that demand after it appeared he would lose in court. Instead, now he says he's sending the military to Portland, Oregon, where he said he's letting them use full force, apparently deadly force, against peaceful protesters.
This story is still unfolding, and there's a lot more disturbing footage out there that shows that Chicago is a powder keg, and I'll have more on that phrase in just a minute. But first, here's Pritzker calling out Trump for his fascist-style power grab and his racist motives.
But as I've said many times, for Donald Trump and the MAGAs in Congress, this is not about fighting crime or about public safety. This is about sowing fear and intimidation and division among Americans. It was about creating a pretext to send armed military troops into our communities. This is about consolidating power in Donald Trump's hands. What he plans to do with that power, now or during the 2026 elections, should worry all of us. When you add to that the Trump administration's effort to label as dangerous free speech critical of him, White House senior staff calling the Democratic Party fascist, the Trump-appointed FCC chair threatening to revoke broadcast licenses, and the approval of a merger in order to silence late-night comedians, Trump's threats to jail political opponents, you cannot call this anything except an attack on the Constitution of the United States. 60% of the individuals that ICE has taken in Illinois this year have no criminal convictions of any kind. ICE is running around the loop harassing people for not being white. Just a year ago, that was illegal in the United States. Now, ICE is making it commonplace. That's not making America great. In any other country, if federal agents fired upon journalists and protesters when unprovoked, what would we call it? If federal agents marched down busy streets, harassing civilians and demanding their papers, what would we say? I don't think we'd have any trouble calling it what it is: authoritarianism. So let's not pretend it's something else when it happens in our American cities.
The situation in Chicago is not yet on fire, but the temperature is definitely rising there and in Portland and in whatever cities follow. And as I mentioned, the federal agents are on edge and aggressive, and it's not a leap to imagine that one of these powder kegs will blow up. And if that happens, it just might fulfill Trump's darkest desires. And by that I mean if confrontations turn violent, Trump can and will say, "I told you so." More force will follow, and the authoritarian power grab that Pritzker mentioned will be turned up to full power, and I think that's what Trump wants. Chaos so he can swoop in and fix the problem with more force and normalize troops in the street. And now I want to know what you think. Please leave your thoughts with a comment below, and let's continue to occupy democracy together.